Hey guys, welcome back to episode 20. This is the P2P network series. And we have just finished a huge refactoring of the code base of the social graph network service. And now we are going to do is to debug and put it to work again because we touch everywhere and most likely we will encounter a lot of problems. So let's jump into the code. So to run this, I'm going to use this guy. Not this guy, but the network is the network workspace. Okay, I'm just going to run it and see where it breaks. Because I don't really expect this to run anymore. So stop. I cannot believe it. Okay, so this says this is running. Okay. Now I want to see that again, but check out the initialization of this. Because in fact, there is not much running when we run the network, or not much that we have changed. The change is going to affect when we try to execute the social trading app. So here we have social persona, social trading bot. Okay, this is not working. Let's go again. User profiles, we have 98, yes. So user profile number 1. Okay. Okay, so we have sign in account. This profile is and debug. Again. Gonzalo. So there should be low social persona. Okay. So it's not working because there is no handle. Okay. Okay, I will briefly put a comment here. Until everybody has this handle. we're going to put a warning. User profile um, then we're going to put this code name. Let's have a config property handle defined. Okay, so that we will know that this is not loading because of this, otherwise, until everybody realizes this. Okay, strange. Okay, here we have it. So, user profile in debug social trading bot 1 does not have a config property handle defined. Okay, so this means that I will have to modify okay, so usually mm, so here this need a handle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to search for this app schema file and add a handle property, even if it is blank. I will check that it's not blank. Okay, so I will go to here and I will look for, I think those are still at the governance workspace schemas. And we're talking about social trading bot. Social trading bot. Hmm. Maybe I should create a handle at the maybe I should create a handle at the profile constructor script. So let's check for that. Project governance, UI, function libraries. Profile constructor. So we're talking about when we are creating a sign-in account. Okay, my guess is it is here. So let code name let handle. We'll create a default handle. Okay, that is going to be I like the code name to be part of the handle plus um, also the user profile. Okay, so we will use as a to the social entity handle the user profile handle plus it's going to be a default handle. Okay, from there people can change it as they wish. So my guess is that if we add one line here, then we will have these handles, but I will need to go to the peer-to-peer network demo workspace where I have my profile constructor there. Okay, so let's install sign-in accounts. Perfect. Now we will check if this worked. No, it's not didn't work because these changes that I made at the profile constructor only are going to be available when I reload the page. Okay, there we have a default handle. Okay, so now we have a handle. Also, wait a minute, we have a handle for stuff that doesn't need a handle. Hmm. So let's revert this. And we will do this only for the social entities. If target node dot type is social persona, okay? Okay, no handle. And for the social persona, we got a handle. And we got a handle. Okay. So let's go back to here and run the network again. Here I had my social personas and bot without a handle. Okay. The next problem. So the next problem is that this is not a function. Of course, because we already renamed this form. Okay, let's see if that is enough. Okay, the ranking is another problem that we will have later. No need to worry about that now. Okay, so the problem with the um, social graph service running. Okay, at least this is running, and that means that this initialization that we coded looks like it is working. Okay. Okay, so The next thing we are going to do is put to run the desktop app, which is going to execute many stuff against this service. Okay. Okay, how do we do that? We will need we will need this workspace. Okay, so we will close everything we don't need right now. And we have the desktop root, desktop app sequence. So we will just run this and see where it explodes. So run. Okay. This exploded and the network looks unaffected. Okay. So what happened here? User profile handle is undefined. Hmm. Okay, this is not unrelated to the refactoring. This is something that I changed lately, where I remove the user social profile from the peer-to-peer network node. Now, the peer-to-peer network node has a node and a user profile. Okay. The handle, this should be a specific property. I don't like to be taking this from inside the signature. So this is going to be user profile config code name. I'm going to eliminate the concept of handle at the user profile level because there's no handle because it's not a social user. It's not a social entity. Okay. So this is what we're going to sign here. Okay, same thing like here. User profile config goal name, and finally here. Um, I wonder what's going on at the WebSocket interface. If we have a user profile also or not. Okay, no. So let's run this again. Okay. So we advance in the sense that we connected ourselves to the node. We send a request, but we have no idea what happened with that. Okay. So we are connected. Okay. Node action functions. Node action workspace functions. Projects. Workspaces. UI. Node action functions. Why do we need this stuff? In any case, I don't think that I need this. So that's not my problem right now. So project workspaces UI. Workspaces UI. Node action functions. Node action workspace functions. Okay, it has something, a name that is not existent because it apparently changed. So who is looking for this? This is a totally unrelated problem to mine, but in order to move forward, I have to overcome it and solve it. So, bad luck for us today with this. Um, I'm trying to see why this is trying to load this script. Okay. Uh, so it seems that its stuff is coming from here. Where is the file name come? Okay, let's reload this and debug. So we're going through the project schema. We are at the project algorithmic trading. Okay, so yeah, as I suspected, he's using this as the name. Node action workspace function. So if I remove this, because the file name is not consistent, then maybe I can run this. Okay, now I got another problem. Um, workspaces bug fixes. Okay, requires not defined. New foundations utility encryption. Somebody put a require in here. And the problem is not the require, but is that this stuff shouldn't come to the UI. So why is this at the UI? That's the question. It's a utility and SA. So because it's an utility and it is a SA, then it's going to load it at the UI too. But this means that I need to remove that require from there. Which project is this at? Foundations. So encrypt. Okay, this is to be used at the task server. So what I'm going to do is go to the task server. Hmm, I'm going to load task server root. The problem is that this doesn't have that. I'm having all these problems because I haven't checked this app for a while, and it seems it accumulated a lot of collateral damage from changes at the system in general. So now I'm paying for that. Task server root. Okay. So what we will require here is that will allow us to say that crypto is equal to okay. Okay, so we'll run this again. Desktop. Because SA is loaded at every application and every route we will need to add crypto. So that means at that route, at the platform route, the network route, and at the desktop route, what is going on here? Why is this executing first? I don't really understand. Okay, so it seems that I cannot have this here. So I'm not going to have it there. Just going to have it wherever I need it. Like here and here. Hold on, what is going on? Reading crypto. Where is the crypto now? Okay. Now I got another set of problems, but let me see if I remove from desktop root if this still runs. Indeed. So this means that I don't need it here, and I don't need it here. I just need it at the task server root and the change here. Okay. Okay, now what's the next problem? At the desktop we have a problem, and at the network we don't see any problem. Okay, so user profile ID. Okay, now this is related to what we were doing before. Okay, so where are we? We are social trading client interface. Okay. Okay. Now at the client interface, query need to be emitted by the same user profile that is connected at the network. But now the meter social persona ID that we receive is not the same as the user profile ID we used to have. So what we need to check here is we have social personas by ID, social personas by handle. Okay, we also have what we need is a user profile at the network level, user profile by blockchain account, by ID, and also by social entity ID. And probably we will need them here. User user profiles by social the ID. It's going to be a new map, and that's it. So when this guy is storing this stuff, okay, we will also store for every social persona, we will also remember the user profile that we have it here. We will remember the user profile by social persona ID. The same stuff we will do for the social trading bot. So what we are going to control that each query that we receive might be emitted, need to be emitted by social entities that belongs to the user profile that is connected to the network node. So when we establish the WebSocket connection, we do it via a client app that is tied to a user profile. So when we receive a message here, it needs to come from an social entity that also belongs to the same user profile. Okay. So that means that in order to know who is this, we are going to get let emitter user file, and it's going to be, we're going to retrieve this with a get. Okay. So if the ID if the ID of the user profile that we get using the ID of the guy that is sending this but this is incorrect because anyway we cannot trust that this guy owns that ID. The message should be signed by that entity. Okay, we already have taken note about this, but to fix this problem today, this is the way to do it. Okay? But the real thing here is that each message should be signed. It should be signed. So that's the only way we have to actually know that the ID that we are receiving, whoever is sending it, owns that ID. Otherwise, anybody can tell this is my ID. Okay, so it must be signed, and on top of being signed, from the signature, we have to get the user profile by blockchain account that we already classified all the stuff. So that's the way we get this fixed. But anyway, something very similar is going to happen at events. social entity. This is the real message. The social entity sending the event is unrelated to the user profile connected to the network. This is what is actually going on. Sending the query. Okay. So now we should go through that validation. Okay, network is running. Let's run the desktop. Okay, what happened now? I see no errors here. I see no, oh yes. Okay. So we have another bug fixed. Okay. So we are a little bit deeper into the changes we already made. Mm-hmm. Um, I guess that was not fixed after all. So what is missing is this. ¿Por qué será que esto es undefined? Cinco 16 33. Okay, so it looks like the ID that is being sent at the emitter is not the ID of the social persona itself, but it's something else. So to know what is being sent, we need to go to the WebSockets network client. No, to the social trading web app interface. Um, so at the desktop, we need to open this social trading. So what we are looking for is who is setting this value. So it is here and nowhere else. Okay, this is not good because this is the desktop app sign-in account. Okay, so that's why the difference. I'm not receiving the query message. The emitter is not the desktop app sign. Oh no, sorry, desktop sign account. will get you to, let's open the secrets file. Social trading desktop app. We will need another configuration that is going to be environment. We will need a configuration, or maybe not. What we need is the web app to allow the user to, or to specify which is the social persona, firing those queries, because it's not the app, it's the social persona. Okay. So we need this. So probably in the meantime, I am going to create desktop. So I'm going to create a default social trading bot one, uh, so that this can work in the meantime while the guys at the desktop app can figure that out. Okay. So client interface or web app interface. We're going to say it like this. Because this message is coming from inside, okay? It's coming from probably the web app itself. So what I'm going to do is say like this. If this is undefined, then I'm going to set this with this, okay? So I'm going to start explaining a little bit the things. And this is that is producing the query, okay? Okay, I will start explaining this so that the guys at the desktop can have a better understanding of what's going on. So this message we are receiving at this web app interface. The web app interface is a module that handles incoming message from the web app, whatever that is. So when a message comes, then it checks if it is a query or an event, and it's going to forward this to the peer-to-peer network. But if it already have a social person ID, fine, I don't touch it. If it doesn't have it, I will use a default. And that's how this is going to be handled. So message header. Okay, and from here it continues. So I expect something similar to happen when it is an event. Okay, so we will do more or less the same thing, even copy the message to be 100% clear. The meter is a social media person Dreambot that is producing the event. In other words, a user social trading app might have multiple social. The one that is currently using is the one that should be specified in the message. If at this point we have a message without a defined social persona, we will use a default one to retrieve, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is going to be an even message, and this is what we are going to use. So this should solve the current problem of this mismatch. Okay, so this is the network node, so we're going to run this again. And the desktop is over here. We are going to run this again. Okay, so what happened? Now we have this, and the test passed. So we let it run, and what happened? No errors here, no errors here. So the only place where there can be errors is here. No errors here. Okay, it doesn't mean that things went well, because I don't see anything here. What this means is that I will need to debug step by step following from here. Okay, so let's put this stuff in 0 again. Okay, so the network is running, the desktop is running. Let's refresh this. Okay, we're going to execute this. Okay, we are at the events query, which is the longest and more complex, by the way. Let's see what do we have here. Probably we don't have any event because everything here failed. Okay, that might be the reason this is failing. So I'm not going to debug this. To be honest, I'm going to solve this problem first. So I cannot see it there. Okay, I suspect that the events that we have recorded, they have a different format by now. So what is going on? We have an event. Let's see where this comes from. Okay, the store event is this. Emitter user profile ID, event ID, blah, blah, blah. So this event obviously doesn't have the stuff that we need it to have, and it's not going to be applied. Okay, so I better delete this stuff, which I can find at my network nodes data. So all this information that I have recorded here is kind of obsolete. So I will start fresh by deleting all this. Add local repository. Um, I'm thinking of adding this to GitHub Desktop, my network node data, just to check this here. Okay, I deleted all this stuff. I'm going to commit it. Start over. Okay, but I'm going to go back to my repository of superalgos. Okay, so if I start this network now, I shouldn't see any more errors there because there are no events to apply to rebuild the social graph. Okay. Yeah. And now I'm going to debug this again from the client interface. Okay, from this query. I don't expect to. I'm not going to debug all this because essentially there are no events. The social graph is empty. So this is running. Now I'm going to run the desktop. And here we are again. So let's see. Okay, response. Okay, the response is okay. So I let it go. And I have a new query. The query is let's see the response of this. Query okay. No data. Finalize. 5. No more queries. Okay, the second query must have been the profiles to follow, and that should have bring data. It didn't bring it. No errors. No data to show. All empty. Okay, now we got 5 posts. Um, so the first query, I let it go. The second query is the query of the profiles to follow. I will take that one. And let's see what happens here. Okay, at the initialize, I already made some stuff that I already missed. So probably I should let this run and run it again. So here we go. We're not going to stop here anymore, just here. So okay, this validation is kind of stupid because we're already checking that we have a emitter social person ID. We did it here. If we cannot get a user profile that matches with this, then this would never happen to arrive into here. But anyway, as we have to find this for whatever reason, if we don't find it, we throw an exception. Fine. So then social personas is going to be an array. It seems we have only 2. Okay. And the reason for that is that because we are not looking for user profiles anymore. You cannot follow user profile. You follow social personas now. But check this out. This array of social personas. Okay. Okay. So this is supposed to have a ranking property. Yes. Okay. So this sorts the array. So we still have an array. We are sending this array in there, this object, and also the query received to array validations. In array validations, this is good. Initial index is 0. This is good. We store the initial index at this object. Everything looks fine. and everything is stored at this object. It seems because then when the query is executed, then we will have at this object everything set up. So direction up, amount requested is 3, found is 0. Okay, so the first social persona. Okay, so what you're seeing here is we get user profile ID is undefined. Um, because this user profile ID doesn't exist anymore. Let's check this out. Social persona now have an ID. Okay. So what we're trying to say here is that we are going to add this persona to the list of people to follow or unfollow with people only if at the map of people that are following the meter social persona, okay, which is essentially 0. So if this guy is not there and it's not the same guy, so here, or all the places where here we have user profile ID, we are talking about the ID. Okay, we're talking about the ID. So we need to stop this and run this again. But I'm wondering if at other places we don't have the same problem. User profile ID, no, no. Okay, so okay, so now we are closer to have at least one thing working. So network is running. Okay, there's something to desktop is crashing when network node is stopped. Okay, problem to solve. So let's go again. Okay, so we are going to execute this query by iterating over here. So what we see that this ID is different. So we are going to add Response is going to be this. Dun, dun, dun. And the second persona is probably going to jump it because it's the same guy. Okay, so you cannot follow yourself. So in this case, this is going back. So at least it appeared here, one guy. It says undefined because probably this is trying to print there a property that is not existing anymore. But essentially it's a big win. Okay, no errors here. We will need to check for at the social trading, the desktop at the UI. No, WebSocket client, no. No, this would be the desktop UI, the web app. Okay, so this web app somewhere load who to follow, send message, append add profile to follow table, and profile picture, user profile, handle. So user profile ID is going to be just ID, and what we call profile this profile dot, we're going to call it social persona dot. And profiles is going to be social personas. Okay, so we will reload this page. Still we have this undefined. We're going to debug now at the browser. This web app. We are talking about the line 233. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. Web app is social persona handle, and what I call it ID. Okay, so this is a good point to arrive. We managed to fix at least one query and everything on its way from end to end, from the page that is sending the message all the way to the desktop app, the network, the social graph service, the client interface, the query module, the specific query, and all the way back until it reaches the page, and it shows us here that we can follow this guy that is the handle of my social persona number 2. Okay, so I can follow that guy. We're going to stop here because it's getting a little bit long, and at the next episode we're going to execute this event to follow this guy, and start um, testing later the posting and the events query, where we can see all the posts in here. Okay, so yeah, it was a good episode. A lot of things been done. So thank you for watching, and see you at the next one. Bye.